Hey, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our parent panel today. My name is Allison Singley, and I am the Executive Director of Parent Relations at Gettysburg College, and I'm pleased to be the panel moderator for this brief session. I have a number of current Gettysburg College parents with me to have a fun and hopefully informative and authentic parent discussion about some of the issues that may be at the top of your minds. And so I'm going to ask each of today's panelists to introduce themselves. They're going to say their name, say where they are from, and then tell us the name of their Gettysburg College student and what class he or she is in. So Bill, can we begin with you, please?
Certainly. Good afternoon. I'm Bill Keating. My son John is a class of 23, and we're from Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Bill. Maliha, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Maliha Sheikh, and I have a son who is graduating in 2022, and we are from Basking Ridge, New Jersey.
Kevin?
Is that Kevin? I'm sorry, it broke up there for a second. Yeah, hi, this is Kevin Lippincott.
Yes.
My wife, Lori, who's also on the Zoom call this morning. And I have a daughter, Alex, who is a senior, and we currently reside in Dallas, Texas.
Thank you, Kevin. Leah?
Hi, I am Leah Williams. I have a rising sophomore daughter named Sully, and we are from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, thanks, Leah. And Shiraz?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shiraz Sheikh, and my son, Ahmed Sheikh, as Maliha stated, is a 2022 student, and we're from Basking Ridge, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and welcome. So the goal of today's panel is to share various family perspectives about the Gettysburg College experience and how this particular group of parents has supported their children in the first year, in their first year at Gettysburg College and beyond. And we are also going to focus a bit on the unique situation that we're in relevant to COVID-19 and what that looks like for Gettysburg College families now as well. So without further ado, I'm going to begin with a question that Bill and then Leah are going to respond to. Many of our incoming families are looking to hear how things have gone, which brings me to my first question. How have each of you helped your child prepare for their first year at Gettysburg?
Well, obviously, going off to college is a momentous time. John was extremely anxious, concerned about what it was going to be like going to campus and living on campus and living with two roommates. But we just simply encouraged him to, when he got there, to get engaged with what was going on the campus, take his time, recognize that not everything was going to come together in the first 2 days or first week or first month for that matter, and really explore what opportunities he had there. And the college was fantastic from that perspective. The number of different things that he engaged in his fall semester, including the Eisenhower Institute. He was selected as a fellow for that. And Garthwaite Leadership, he participated in some of those activities. Really made it an easy transition for him. And he really, really enjoyed his first year because he got engaged in so many different things on campus and had the support from his professors and an advisor.
I will follow that by saying we also really encourage Sully to realize that a lot of the transition is going to be about just living away from home and not to put too much pressure on yourself to try to do it all perfectly at the beginning. Give yourself a little bit of grace. My daughter also played a sport. She plays on the women's soccer team. So she also had that pressure. And so we just encouraged her to do her best and to try to get involved, but don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. My next question, what resources did you find most helpful in your child's first year at Gettysburg, and what resources would you recommend incoming families can lean on for support? Maliha, would you like to begin, please? Maliha, you're muted.
So sorry, I almost forgot to unmute. So there are about 3 resources that I think were pretty important to Ahmed as he started his first year. One of them was the Center for Career Engagement, which is a wonderful resource for kids who are looking probably around maybe later on for opportunities, for internships, jobs, just getting their resume built. That was a great place for Ahmed to get advice on opportunities. And the other one I think is amazing is Connect Gettysburg, which is basically linking alumni to current students, and again, offering opportunities for internships, mentorships. So I highly encourage your children to get involved with signing up or taking a look at Connect Gettysburg when they have a chance, if they're just ready to plunge into upcoming opportunities. In addition, there are counseling services available to students. As you know, going to college is a huge transition, but the good thing is that there is support at Gettysburg. If you wanted to go check out the website, there are multiple resources, reading material, numbers that are available for students to call if they're having some difficulty. So all of those resources, I think, were substantial in helping Ahmed, get going and just having those links to support.
Okay, thank you so much, Maliha. Kevin, would you like to add to that, please?
Sure. There are 3 areas of support that I thought were actually very critical to Alex's experience at Gettysburg as well. The first is the academic advisor. So one of the first adults that your student will connect with is their advisor when they enter the campus. And that person is really critical from a couple perspectives. One is they're a great advocate for your student on campus. 2, they are really good resources in terms of helping guide your student in terms of course selection. Or if your student isn't sure what their major is going to be, it's a good resource to kind of think through what different options might make sense based on the courses that they seem to like or enjoy the most. So the academic advisor is someone that our daughter Alex has really had a great relationship with. In fact, not only has this individual been her advisor, but I think she's taking her 3rd course from this person this coming year. The second resource that Alex has tapped into a fair amount is the Writing Center. So the Writing Center is staffed by both students who will do peer reviews as well as administrative support as well. So that's a great ongoing resource. And many of the teachers built into their class timelines or project timelines or paper writing timelines, an opportunity to seek guidance from the Writing Center if a student chooses to do that. In fact, they encourage it quite a bit. And then the last one, I'm just going to kind of echo something that Malia talked about, which is the Career Services Center. I can't encourage you enough to try and encourage your student to walk over to the Career Engagement Center early on in the process and meet the people and talk about the resources that are available to them. Alex, participated in something called an externship or an immersion trip in Florida that was hosted by a Gettysburg parent and alum. That was a phenomenal experience. And there are lots of those types of opportunities that are available. You just need to ask the questions about it to discover what cool programs your students can tap into.
Wonderful, thank you so much. So this past year has unquestionably looked and felt different from many of us, for all of us, I would guess, with the ongoing pandemic. And so my next question is, how did your family adjust to academic life during the pandemic, and how are you continuing to support your students as they get ready to return to Gettysburg College? So Shiraz, if you would please begin, and then we'll hear from Lori.
Absolutely, Allison, and that's a great question. And change, I think, would be a understatement. It was definitely a very different year, not only dealing with the pandemic, but the social issues that have come up. So I think it's made a very unique, very, very unique year for all of us. But at the same time, with all that's been going around, it's allowed us to pivot and adapt to new ways of doing things, whether it was virtual learning or everyone now being very well versed in Zoom. So all of those changes have come about, and they will allow us to grow from and learn from a lot of these things and continue to improve and get better. I think it's given the students a new perspective on how to learn differently, not only in the classroom setting, but also virtually, and trying new and different ways of learning, and including us as families. I'm sure all of us spend a lot of time in front of the computers now, or our digital devices, to attend meetings and continue to improve our own businesses. But it's allowed us to continue to learn, pivot, and change as this pandemic has gone on. And it will continue to help us to improve from where we are right now.
Right. Well, building on what Shiraz just talked about, I mean, this past year has been a little crazy for all of us, and trying to adjust to that online learning extremely quickly. I think what I would say, based on my experience, it will work out. And I know as a parent, it's really, really stressful, and our kids are so far away. But the amount of work and planning and prep that Gettysburg did, they pivoted on a dime, and it's been wonderful to see the reaction. And I know all of us here on this call have been involved on calls with Gettysburg and just listened to the planning that has gone into this next semester. And Gettysburg has it. And if they haven't thought of something, they will figure it out, and they will figure it out quickly, and everything will be okay for our kids. So just, stay as calm as you can. And let's just enjoy the year, enjoy the semester, however it turns out. Some little things I might just offer as a parent. It really helped if we ever have to go to remote learning totally, and I know my daughter has one class online this semester. It helped for us to invest in, for example, another monitor, so that you could be on Zoom on one monitor and do your work on another. You might just want to ask your kids, or kind of talk about how you may work well remotely. But to echo Shiraz, my goodness, remote was not a bad thing. Our daughter learned so much about how to manage teams, how to communicate, skills that will be so valuable in the real world. So even though this was tough, it was really positive.
Thank you so much for that. So how did Gettysburg College support your families, at the end of the spring semester when we pivoted? And how do you anticipate that you're going to be supported going forward as we, embark on a very different fall semester? Kevin, would you begin? And then Maliha, we'd like to hear from you too.
Sure. So as I had mentioned in the intro, Lori and I live in Dallas, Texas. So it's not an easy car trip for us to get up to campus and visit the school and see what's going on. So one of the things that we've been impressed with throughout our experience with Gettysburg is the school's communication with the parents and the students. And I think during this pandemic that has only become a greater strength for the school. I think Lori and I would say that we have been very impressed with the approach that the school's taken. They have been open and honest about the situation. They have been really active in terms of soliciting input from all of their constituents or all the stakeholders in the school. I think they've been really good in terms of actively listening to the feedback that they've gotten from each of those audiences. They've been very analytical in terms of how they've processed that information. And then ultimately, I think one of the things that's been most impressive is they've come back with a very firm recommendation in terms of how they want to move forward. And it's very clear that everybody has buy-in to it. And some of the decisions that they've made aren't easy decisions, and some of the things that they've put in place in terms of expectations for the students aren't necessarily ideal, but I think they're really good solutions or good approaches given very difficult circumstances. So I think from my perspective, just the overall communication of the school has been phenomenal, and I really do feel like if there are some hiccups going forward, that they're going to engage us and continue that great active dialogue.
Okay, so I have to absolutely echo what Kevin has said in terms of communication from Gettysburg. We have received many emails along the way of planning and just keeping parents up to date of what's going on. There has been a tremendous amount of work on the staff at Gettysburg to make sure that the process of going back to school has been looked at thoroughly. The school has also received support through, doctors and medical people. So that in itself has been super supportive, especially to the parents, knowing that their kids have to go back and the safety precautions that have been put into place. One of the other biggest supports for Ahmed when we switched over to distance learning was continuing to be able to speak to his professors, which was very important because, of course, as you know, the face-to-face wasn't there, but he regularly scheduled individual Zooms with his professors if he needed them. He would send emails to his advisors if he had questions about upcoming, whether it was study abroad or whether it was his classes for scheduling for the fall. And they were always very readily available to answer questions, to talk to him. And I think that in itself continued with that the communication line for him. So absolutely, we certainly felt supported during virtual learning this spring.
Thank you. My next question. So how can our incoming parents expect that their students will be supported on campus while they are away from their families? Bill, will you begin?
Sure. We had a great experience for John's first year in terms of support from the campus. Two clear instances in my mind. One's kind of very relevant. Was John contracted pneumonia in November and went to health services after some encouragement from his parents. And they did a tremendous job of taking care of him, making sure that he got the right treatments, sending him to the local hospital, which they have a very close relationship with, and getting him x-rayed. And we felt very comfortable about it. We had a moment, thought we might drive up to campus just to make sure he was okay, but was impressed with the way it was handled, and he turned out to be just fine. And so I was very happy about that. Hadn't expected to need to use that resource, but it was there, and when it was needed, it was really very, very helpful and gave us a lot of confidence.
Thank you so much, Bill. Lori, can I call on you to?
Of course you can. I am so sorry I had to take a quick work call. Can you repeat the question, Allison?
Right. So my question for you, because you and Kevin are from Dallas, is, and being so far away, how can parents who are a distance away from the college expect that their students will be supported while they're away from their families and away from their homes, and particularly a great distance away?
Yeah, no, I can easily answer that. It has been seamless. I mean, you're very far away. Just even thinking about transportation to and from school. Gettysburg provides many options, whether it be buses to the airport, Uber. There are lots of different options, but I will tell you, it works flawlessly. You don't need to worry about anything. Alex once got caught in a snowstorm and, was so upset as a freshman that she was going to miss her bus and she wasn't going to get back to school and what was going to happen. Oh my gosh, I think now she has the cell phone number of every bus driver. No one is going to leave you anywhere. You are going to get on the next bus. You are going to be taken care of. Gettysburg is a family. And they will take care of you. And just this past year, Alex had to leave campus early to have some surgery before campus closed down before spring break. We never could get back. And I got to tell you, Gettysburg was wonderful. For those of us that were far away, they packed up the entire room and put it in storage for us. I mean, again, the support is there for all of us that are remote. You don't feel far away at all.
Thank you, Lori. And so building on that, Shiraz, would you like to go next just to talk about a little bit about the support that's going to happen relative to COVID-19?
Absolutely, Allison. And as Bill and Lori have already stated, one of the very important part or the support that the school is going to provide to the students is their safety. We want to make sure that all students are safe. They're in an environment where they feel safe, where the parents feel safe. And to that point, the school just released the social contract, which talks about the guardrails that all students will need to follow for their own safety, whether it's making sure that they're being tested for COVID in the event if, God forbid, if a student contracts COVID, how will that be handled, the quarantine, the isolation process, and how the students will be expected to act and behave during this time. As students, it's a learning process. They're young adults, but the school wants to make sure that they are safe at all points of time, when they're at campus and off campus also, for those who will be residing off campus while in school. School's also making sure that we partner with medical professionals, we partner with consultants, parents, and faculty members to make sure that the guardrails that were developed and that were published in the social contract were something that can be administered easily, something that can be followed easily, and something that could be applied in all aspects of the school. So again, I think the safety is going to be probably the most important aspect for all students and the support that will be provided in this coming fall semester.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And Shiraz is probably going to be leaving our panel very shortly for another professional obligation. So Shiraz, thank you for being with us, but we're just going to continue and we're going to shift just a little bit to a question that might be of interest to our families of athletes. And so Leah is going to describe for us, if you would please, Leah, what support is in place for our student athletes as they transition to Gettysburg College, both socially, athletically, and academically.
I'm happy to. It's just an extra layer of eyeballs on your children, which is very comforting. I know our experience with the women's soccer team, Sully had a meeting every single week with the coach, either the assistant coach or the head coach, not just to talk about athletics, but to talk about how she was doing with her roommate, how her studies are going. And actually, I may think that they weren't even talking at all about athletics. So a lot of times the athletes are being cared for by their coaches, not just on the field. And that is a very, very comforting thing. In addition, they also assign athletes mentors, a lot of times upperclassmen that can help the freshman student athlete navigate a lot of the things that they've already done themselves. So it's just an extra layer of people that care about your student.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Leah. So I think we've arrived at the time for our final question. And so I would like each of the panelists to offer a bit of advice to our incoming families. And specifically, my question is, what advice would each of you have for our incoming families as their students start Gettysburg College at this unprecedented time? So, Kevin, I'm going to begin with you, and I'll
hot seat out of the gate.
call on each of you to answer that.
In terms of, I guess my advice, I'm going to kind of shift pace. I'm not going to talk about it in terms of a COVID environment. I'm just going to say one piece of advice I'd give to you is your student is going to school in a really unique environment. And I'm sure people will talk about lots of things in terms of the actual the school or campus environment. I would say I'd encourage you, while your student is at the Gettysburg College, to take advantage of the broader community. You're in the middle of an historic battlefield. And one of the things I have really enjoyed during my daughter's soon-to-be fourth year at the school is every year we try and take advantage of exploring a different part of the battlefield and getting exposure to a unique part of our history that I otherwise wouldn't have understood or had any exposure to. So outside of just the neat things on campus, there's lots of really cool things in the community I would encourage you to kind of explore or take advantage of.
Thank you, Kevin. Malika, would you like to go next?
Sure, absolutely. I think my biggest advice is to have your children, explore everything they can and, try new things when they get to campus. There's so many things to get involved in. For example, my son Ahmed, he was involved in the Garthwaite Leadership Institute. He volunteered at WellSpan, which is the local hospital down the road. He's a big brother for a mentorship program within Gettysburg for an elementary school age child, which has been an amazing opportunity for him. There's so many clubs, so many activities to get involved in, and that's my biggest advice. Have your child try new things. This is the time to do it, and I'm sure that they will find something that they love at Gettysburg.
Thank you. Leah, would you like to go next?
Yes, I would encourage you to encourage your child to really get to know their professors. That's one of the reasons why we all love and trust a small liberal arts environment. It's the ability to connect with your peers and your teachers in an intimate setting. But in a specific case, Sully had gotten to know her professors early in the semester last spring. So when they went remote, it was not as big a stretch for her to connect with the professors from a distance. So I would encourage them to really, meet with their professors early in the semester, hope they'll be there the entire semester. But if for some reason there was a reason to go remote, that they already have established that baseline relationship.
Excellent advice.
Mm-hmm.
Lori, we're going to go to you. And then Bill, we want you to finish us up with a bang. But Lori first, please.
Sure. What I would say is this is their journey. Their wonderful opportunity to experience everything Gettysburg is. And we're just there to kind of walk along beside them and support them. Some of your kids are going to share a lot of information and some share absolutely nothing. And if you have one of those types of children and they're on their own, I would encourage you to, sign up for communication. Sign up for, follow the social media pages. Sign up for athletic newsletters. Even if you don't have an athlete, get a sense of what the campus is about. President Uliano has a wonderful podcast. The Garthwaite Leadership has wonderful monthly newsletters that come out. Sign up for that. And really, as a parent, just absorb everything Gettysburg is so that you know what your kid is going through, even if they're not telling you.
That's great. That's great advice. I think all these points are excellent. All something I would completely agree with in terms of how you should be looking at this opportunity and experience. But one of the things that sticks with me is that the college has fantastic leadership. President Iliano, during this crisis and even before, really impressed me with his thoughtfulness, his commitment to the community, commitment to the college. And then when we came to this crisis, his communication. And so take some comfort in the fact that we do have some great leadership at this college, and that our community is well led, well thought of, and guided well. And in this time, to be a little flexible. Sometimes all the answers may not be there, but be assured that the staff and the leadership of the college are thinking about whatever that issue might be, and are coming up with a recommendation that is not only great for the college, but great for the students who attend there.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much. I just want to take a moment to thank our panelists for their time today, but also to thank the families who are watching this panel discussion and benefiting from the great experience and the great advice of our panelists. So thank you for that. And it means a lot, I think, to really hear your experiences. And I just want to thank you, the panelists, for the support you are offering and have offered. I know already to the new families we soon will officially welcome. So thank you for this. As a reminder to the class of 2024 families, you are more than welcome to reach out to the Parent Relations Office, and we are happy to work with you directly. And we also can put you in touch with any one of these panelists if you have questions or would like to get further involved with Gettysburg College. And we are still continuing to do our work and build connections even in the midst of a global pandemic. So we look forward to connecting with you. I also would highly encourage you, if you have specific questions, to always refer to the Better Together website. And the most up-to-date information is posted there. There's a trove of information. I know you're going to have questions coming up about move-in and other things as the fall semester unfolds. So please don't hesitate to refer to the Better Together website. So I'd like to close by saying thank you again to everyone. Stay safe and be well. And our Gettysburg community is better together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.